Today I'm going to look at the MIDI function Rhythm in Ableton, which is used for the generation of patterns. It's going to be used in some of my videos coming up, so I thought this was a good opportunity to explain its function to people who are not quite sure exactly what it does. So let's have a look how we can use it to generate rhythms. Today I'll be using a drum machine which I created for Ableton. If you're interested in using this, I'll leave a link in the description below and a tag at the top here. Basically uses the synthesis instruments in Ableton to generate drum tones. You have a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, FM. Okay, let's have a look at what you usually see when you insert a new clip into a channel. Here we have the kick here. This is what you typically see. You'll have this looping function and the stretch function here. If we click here to the right though, we can go into the rhythm section, which enables us to generate rhythmical patterns. There's a whole series. We have the control over the number of steps here. We can put 16 steps, we can go to 8 steps, and these are all interlinked. So as an example, if I change the density here, which is increasing the number of the steps that are filled, here we have 16, then you see that the number of patterns available is affected by this value. We have no patterns available because we only have 16. If I drop this down to 15, maybe we can turn this off for a second. If I drop this down to 15, you'll see we have a gap now and we have the patterns available, and by moving this I can move that blank spot through the rhythm all the way from one side to the other. So if we reduce the density again, here we have 14 patterns. We reduce the density to 14. We see we now have 104 possibilities where these 14 notes or triggers can be placed. If we go down to, let's say, 8, then we have over 6,000. So you can see there's a relationship here. Playing with density and pattern steps give you different combinations of rhythm that you can generate. And the same can be done with the snare, hi-hat, FM channels to allow you to create more complex rhythms. Let's have a listen then. So we have a drum beat here for the kick. We can now move to the snare. You have to be a little bit careful here because you see the values we had on the kick are now auto-generated here on the snare, which means if I change the values here, as an example, let's change this to 4, we have 202, 16. If I go back to the kick, we have it here again. So I've now lost the ability to remember what pattern and what density I had chosen here. So you have to watch out for that a little bit. And the option is to turn the auto off here. If I go to a new channel, you can turn auto off, set your density, set your pattern, and generate. That's a possibility. So you can work then, but then you don't have a visual feedback as to what's going on. It's you change your pattern, you generate. So it's the devil in the deep blue sea really. With the auto function on, you can see exactly what's happening in your pattern. You can hear the changes very, very rapidly, but you do have the issue of when you move back to a pattern you've already generated, if you want to edit it, you're lost. You've lost what you've done. So here we go. We can do a 16. Let's go to 12. So I think you get the idea. It's not going to be a long video. I just want to explain what this is, what the function of this is and how to use it. We can introduce a bass here. There we go. You do have the option to shift here. If I was to increase this number, we start shifting the pattern, which can be useful at times, especially when you're working with generative music where you can move things and create different patterns. As I say, this is the drum machine I built. Have a look if you're interested. I think that's it really. There's not much more to say about Rhythm. It's a very useful function that, in combination with a rhythm generating machine like here, you can just play around and create your own beats. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care.